welcome to the Ask Sue show. I'm really excited about today, and I'll tell you why. I've actually interviewed Colin Fry before he unfortunately passed away. I've interviewed Derek Okora, even interviewed his wife. And do you know what? I've actually got now a gentleman that I've known quite a few years, and he's funny. He's amazing. He's a good friend now. I've seen him many, many times, and it is the wonderful spiritual medium, Patrick Hutchinson. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Sue. How are you, darling?
Oh, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to the show. I've got to say, Toby, I've known Patrick ages, and the one thing I like with Patrick is he's to the point. I have seen you, Patrick, before now, and the one thing when I first met you was the one quote that you come with, and you were, well, a couple actually. First one was we were in a pub, and I've got this event, and he literally said, right, are we doing it just like the ordinary version, or are we doing it pub version? And you did pub version, to be fair. And the other thing that you said was when you were talking to a lady, and you were literally giving a message, and she couldn't take it. And most people, like, they'll say, oh, I've got the person Fred here, and they'll say, no, sorry, I can't take Fred, and they'll just say, okay, we'll leave Fred there then. But you don't. You literally go around, and you find out where Fred comes in. And
you've got to.
That's what gets you. You know, you got me totally that day when it's literally like, and then eventually the lady just goes, oh, yeah, Fred. How are you doing anyway?
I'm absolutely fine, sweetie. I'm enjoying the sunshine, and I was out last night talking. Sorry?
Where were you last night?
You know, I do that many places, I forgot. I was in Sutton.
Right, okay.
The night before that, I was in Warrington, upstate Liverpool.
Right.
So, generally everywhere.
But literally, and obviously we've got to say, you're in Blackpool, obviously, 23rd of May.
Yes, I'm looking forward to be my first time in Blackpool.
Oh, do you know what? I've got to say though, Patrick, I haven't actually mentioned this to you. I actually have my operation on my knee on the 20th of May, on Monday before. So I'll be coming in my crutches, so there'll be no pranking about, okay, for me. I'm just going to sit there and be a good girl. Yeah, right, if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Oh, I hope so, Patrick. Everybody's saying to me, am I scared about the operation? I'm not scared about the operation. It's about the scared of having to rest for 2 weeks. I don't do resting.
I'm not very good at that either.
So, Patrick, tell people about yourself. Where did this all start for you? Did you have it from a child? Do you have this gift from a child, or how did it come about?
Well, I've had it from a child. I used to see people when I was 5, actually in the bedroom. Obviously, it was quite frightening for a child. But I never wanted to be a medium. I had other plans, obviously, in my life. But they've decided in their wiseness to take all the other plans off, and that's what I've got to do, and that's the end of it. So that's what I do. Right.
Was there anything in particular that changed your mind? Was there something that made you decide you were going to be the medium, or what did it?
Well, I got a visit from a spiritual doctor from the spirit world, and it was on a Sunday, actually, on a Sunday morning, and he sat on the bed next to me, and he said, right, he said, you're going to work. And I thought, you know, am I not right in the head? Is there a problem here? What's going on? Sort of thing. I said, I've got a landscape garden company. Why would I want to do that? And he said, because we want you to. And I've never stopped ever since. That was 25 years ago.
Good grief.
I've walked early every night.
Really? That's amazing. I mean, I've seen you a few times. Obviously, I've seen you in Shropshire and everything. And we travelled all the way down the other day to Stoke to see you. That was a few weeks back now. Literally a surprise visit. I went with Kim. Yeah. That was amazing. Yeah. A really, really good night. A bit of a weird night, that one, to be fair, wasn't it?
Well, it's like anything else, and I'm not just I'm not being funny, but I'm just not an ordinary medium. I like finding out things. This is what I do. I find out things that I'm not meant to find out, things I shouldn't really know. And people just seem to love it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Yeah. I love the fact, and I think I'm right in saying you won't be offended by this, but sometimes people like almost get offended because of how you come across. Now, anybody that comes to see Patrick, if anybody's not seen Patrick, let me give you an idea, right? He will literally, if you say, no, that's not for me or something, he knows that it's for you, and he's not one of these psychics that just brush it under the carpet and he'll say, oh, we'll move on then. He'll literally say, no, hold on a minute. And sometimes that almost comes across as abrupt. I remember when I first saw you and I was like, whoa, that's a bit harsh. And then after I watched you 5 minutes, it was like, actually, no, he's proving the point. This is for real. This isn't just somebody's like picking. Anybody can say I've got a 96-year-old man who's walking with a hobble and he's got grey hair. We can all take him. Do you know what I mean? But you go that extra bit more, and that did it for me, to be fair. But let's just talk about. I want to just talk also to people and tell people about the story about you actually managed to help to catch a paedophile some years ago as well.
Yes, I did, yeah. It was in a show in Leeds, and the young girl's grandmother come to me, and she said, look, I want this sorted out, and she wouldn't stop interfering with the show, spiritually, of course. And I just said to the young lady, and her mum was there, I said, your mum, her nan, is telling me that your daughter, unfortunately, the neighbour has been sexually abusing her. And it all sort of come out. I said, not only that, I said, a friend as well. So he got arrested. He got 5.5 years for it. And finally he's done it again, and he's in prison again.
Good grief. But right, now, I've got to ask you this, because I've seen your work, but obviously, people haven't seen you. How do you, as a medium, stand there and say this to people? Hold on a minute, just to let you know. I mean, did you feel like maybe I shouldn't say that? Or was it a case of these people need to know?
The case is the spirit world told me to say it, so I have to say it, or they won't leave me alone. It's not a simple of, I'm not a silly person. The things what I find out, like I do murder investigations. The families usually get me in. I've found a lady's son's body, which I've got photographs and proof, and the lady will confirm it, where he was murdered 15 years ago, and the guy who'd done it confessed to it, and they got his body, but it only took me a weekend to find him. I suppose I was very lucky spiritually, if you want to look at it that way, or it was time for him to come home for his mum. So which I've got photographs of that, etc., stuff like that myself. I've told people that they've had told a chap once that he had a tumour on his brain. He went to the doctor. I've got an email from him which I could show anybody who's saying I was correct. Doctor said if I didn't come to him, he would have died. So different sort of things like that.
That's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. See, everybody knows that I promote the psychic world, and I put my hands up, and I said this to you actually the other night, we were talking about this, about I've actually sat in spiritual churches, and I've had a ring on my wedding finger, but I've never been married. And my thing is, my gran or my granddad or my aunt or whoever would come through, they know I've never been married. So why would they say, well, I actually had one medium that said, who looked at me and said, I need to come to you, blah, blah, blah. And then next minute she said, and when you were married, and I went, listen, stop. And she said, what's that? I went, don't read me. I want you to give me a reading. The only reason you said that is because I was playing with my wedding ring finger. I said, and you thought that I was married. You're not giving me a reading. And I think this is the trouble. People, you can tell me, oh, your gran sat with you in the grass in the park or whatever and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Random things like that most people may be able to take. But I don't want that, Patrick. I want that extra bit more. And what you're saying to me is, you've given me stuff about that blew me away, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because to me you're up with the best of them. Do you know what I mean? I've seen how you work, I've heard your readings, and you've been amazing. And I think this is the thing, we want more than just I've got your gran with you and she's got grey wavy hair. Oh no, I don't mean that, I mean short. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah. I think a lot of the problem is mediumship is changing from spiritualist churches where you're up with the chairman and you're doing reads. There's certain things that you can say and you can't say, to be fair, because they won't allow it. But I'm not interested in the people who's been already converted. I'm interested in the people who's not been converted and want evidence, they want you to shock them. They want you to know that their Uncle Frank had a wooden leg and he used to play golf, or my auntie took her own life, unfortunately, because someone robbed all her money, or something like that. They're looking to be wowed, shocked nowadays. And this is what people want. But a lot of mediums, and to be fair, there is a lot of good mediums out there, and there's a lot of decent church mediums, because I've done churches myself, but it's just not my cup of tea, because I think you're tied and you're bound by the revolutions of the church and how they want you to do it. And a lot more younger mediums are trying to. Recently, I seen one, and he was a younger man, and he had more of a wow factor. There was something there. He didn't come out with the same thing. Oh, there's a black gate in number 18. Well, I've got number 20 and a green gate. You probably heard that yourself. Or look in your calendar behind you. It's just nonsense. People aren't interested in that. Your nan's got arthritis and she loved to bake and she says eat more fruit. What's that all about? It's stuff like that where I think, now, as a medium, if I was going to see someone, I'm not being funny, I'd walk out.
Yeah.
I want them to tell me something which no one should know.
Yes.
That's what I try to do when I walk.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like when I speak to my friends about it, right? Not everybody's into it. Do you know what I mean? And that's fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But then I've also got friends who I'd like to go. But then, do you know what? There's times when I want to take them, but depending if I've not seen the person before, I would take 20 people to you. That's not a problem. But to some, I don't want to take them because I don't want them to be feeling almost uncomfortable because nothing come through and there was nothing proven. Do you know what I mean? And I come out of there thinking, that didn't persuade them at all. Do you know what I mean? So, do you have...
It can be worse, though.
Sorry?
Sometimes it can be a lot worse. Sometimes it can be worse, though, if you take someone and you've got high expectations of what the medium's going to be, and you've not seen them before, but you've heard about them, you go in and you see them, and you take friends and that, and it's such a disappointment for them to think, oh, that was a waste of time.
I've been there, done that, and I'm not going to say nothing more to that. It's quite funny, that. But no, so how can I put this? How do you bring stuff through that's... Do you actually get it where it's just too sensitive? There's people that literally can't take it?
Do I get it what people can't take it?
Yeah, so say, for instance, some people have had some real traumatized things in their life. Is there times that people say, I don't want you to say no more, that's enough? And...
I have a get-out clause for everybody. Just say, I understand, and they'll stop talking about it. If you actually remember in my show, I always say to you, if there's anything you don't want to talk about or them to talk about, just say, I understand.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's again. I just listen to everything that's being said to me. So Annie talks to me, and I just listen. I just repeat what's being told to me. So really, I'm not special, to be honest with you. I'm just like in the telephone. I'm just listening to them.
Don't be saying you're nothing special when I'm getting all these people to come to Blackpool to come and see you. He's talking rubbish. Don't listen to a word he says. But what about buildings then? Is there certain buildings that literally can affect how you work?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You must remember, if you're working with energy in the spirit world, we all know that you'll have good spirits who are nice people and you'll have bad spirits who are bad people. Okay? So you've got to deal with that and what's happened in the building, if anybody's been murdered in the building, if they took their own life in the building, if they were very Christian and they didn't want anything like people like us mediums in the building. So you've got to take that all into account. But generally speaking, well, one of them up in your area, actually, they went to Theatre Gardens. Is extremely haunted. I've worked in that once or twice. That was a very interesting place, I must say so myself.
Yeah.
But buildings do hold thoughts, memories, images. So if you had a happy family there or whatever, or if you had a bad family, it's like I'm dealing with a poltergeist situation in Nottingham at this moment with a lady who's getting things flung off a wall. And I've got to sort that out for her. And then last week I had a case of a little girl where there was a man in her bedroom and he's shouting at her, and she's only 3, bless her, and she's screaming her head off, and she's telling her mummy and her daddy. But I've sorted that out for them. So I got rid of him. So, yes, there is, unfortunately.
Right. Do you know, are you saying about that? Let's talk about kids, because I've got my own kids, and I'll tell you about Jamie in a minute. And then I've got Kim, who's the eldest. She picks up stuff, and she picks up all the emotional side of stuff. I've had to literally pick up stuff when she was in this psychic church in Shrewsbury, and she literally burst down into tears because they were literally putting so much on her. So we've had to literally make sure that she knows how to control it, how she can switch it off and again. Now Jamie, he's now 20. And he was saying, he come downstairs one day, and I said, "You're right, Jamie, you're supposed to be going to bed." And he went, "Mum, I can't." And I went, "Why, what do you mean you can't?" He went, "Mum, they're all waiting for me in my bedroom. I can't deal with this. They're all waiting." And I went, "All waiting? What do you mean? Who's waiting?" And he went, "Mum, they're all waiting to talk to me. They're all around my bed. I can't even get to my bed. They're all around my bed." And he was actually getting things. He'd actually seen my granddad waving to him at the car. He said, "Mum, little granddad's at the back. He's waving at the car." But the trouble is, it actually freaked Jamie out the one night. And he literally said, "Mum, I can't do this no more. I can't." And I literally had to shut it off for him because he couldn't cope with it. But do you know what? I know, Patrick, that he had got the abilities to literally stand by you and do it really very well. But he just didn't... you know, there's still time yet. Maybe he may change his mind yet. But he literally gave one of my exes a reading, and he was literally telling him about things that happened to him when he was a kid. And my ex...
Sorry, Dawn, carry on.
But he was literally saying stuff about my ex when he was a kid, and he said, "But do you know what?" And I even said to him, even down to, there was a newspaper on the table. And I said, "James, can you not, what's the date on the table?" And do you know what? He even went to the newspaper in his mind. He went to the newspaper and looked at the date, but he didn't have the first part, but he had the year. And my ex at the time said, "Yes, that is around about right."
You do have children, or indigo children they call them, which connects to this. Most children can connect to the spirit world, actually. Very few what can. But the parents turn around and say, "Oh, it's her little friend." Or, "Don't be silly, there's no one in the room with you." Or, "You're having a bad dream." And, you know, if this keeps putting on to a child constantly, then obviously the child's going to think that the parent's right because they're growing up and they're not.
Yeah.
So it does make sense if you think about it. For your own lad, Jamie, the problem is sometimes it can get overwhelming to the medium, especially if you can feel the pain or if you can feel the heartache, if you can feel the stress. And obviously you get good and bad, and you can get not very nice things coming rushing at you, which I get on a regular basis, but I tell them, to sod off, because that's the way I am, unfortunately.
The pub way.
Hey?
The pub way.
That's been very nice about that. But the most important thing is not to show fear.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter what sort of spiritual circumstances you're in, you can feel the fear in yourself, obviously, because, there's a few times when I thought, "Oh, my God." But you don't show it, and you don't, give the feeling to them that you're frightened of it. Because if you do, then you'll start getting... When I was a very young medium, I was doing a haunted place, and I was the medium, and it was like a big hotel, somewhere outside Nottingham. And I went in to the room, and this voice shouted to me, "Get out, get out!" And I ran out the door. And I closed the door, and I thought, hang on, I'm the medium, what am I running out for? So I went back in. It's one of these things, you'd have to be there to see it. You know what, I thought to myself, what am I running out of here for? But again, that's young, and sometimes they get you off guard and you get a bit frightened yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But,
Jamie,
I mean...
you dragged out of bed?
Only by me.
Just because that happened to me about 10 years ago. Because that could pick you off as well. So that could actually frighten you a lot of people. Because I was dragged out of bed by my ankles, and I was really angry. I was furious. Really furious.
Yeah.
I was ever so tired. But if he's a young lad and that sort of thing's happening, or they're touching him, or, running up to him and shouting at him when he's trying to sleep, that's bound to put anybody off.
Yeah. Well,
so
with
maybe
Tim...
later on he might... Might
well, he was absolutely frightened to death, to be fair, in his bedroom. He's just said, they're just waiting, Mum, they're just waiting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, do you know the spiritual church that used to be in Shrewsbury? Well, that's where Kim was when she got it, and she literally, we found out afterwards, it was because she was a young girl, and it was a boys' school, and they were literally saying stuff to her, and it was like almost taunting her, and that's why she got upset, and that was at Shrewsbury.
Oh. That
was quite a thing. But even my grandkids are picking up on it, though. I've got little Calvin's even saying, oh, there's a man. Do you know what I mean? So we already know that he's starting to pick stuff up. Do you know what I mean, already?
What I would say to any parent, if their children are that way, is keep your eye on them, let them get on with it, keep notes of what they're saying, and then give them a couple of years to develop, but don't over-encourage them, but don't under-encourage them, because you know what it's like with kids, and just let them get on with it and see what they say to you, and see if you know, or anybody else can confirm what they're saying, any other good mediums, what you know, then it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with me, I've never hid my kids from it, but I've never forced them into it either. Do you know what I mean? So I've literally just tried to do both ways, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same. My son Jason, you know Jason, don't you?
I've not met Jason, no.
But he's a scientist. He's doing his PhD. He's a good medium, but he's doing all this, hearts and livers and bones and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I can't see him standing up and doing it anymore. But he's a very good medium. I thought he was going to be the same as me. I thought he was going to be better than me, but he moved to. He wants to do science, so who's to argue with him?
Yeah. Right, but see this thing. But every time I say to Jamie now, he's definitely turning around and saying, oh, "I'm not interested, Mama. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that." Do you know what I mean? So it's just he's got to. They just got to do their own thing. I'm never going to force him to do it or not to. Do you know what I mean? It's his choice. That's up to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, it could come back to him. He could decide in 10 years that he wants to do it. Once he, when he feels more confident, when he thinks, oh, I can deal with this sort of thing. I've been around it a long time. And he might decide, oh, Mum, I'm going to start back up. Can you help me? Give me some advice, what I can do, how I can move on with that. Which, there's plenty of time for it, because a lot of people don't get mediumship till they're older. Some of them are 50, 60.
Yeah, exactly. So what's coming up then? Obviously, you've got Blackpool. Have you got what other events have you got? Do you just do the audience with, or do you actually do other events as well? Because I know that you
yeah, go on.
Because didn't you do some ghost events as well at one point?
Yeah, I've done some of them, but can I be honest?
Yep.
I find them boring at times, less things happen. Because I'm the same as anybody else. I want to hear it. I want to see them. I want to interact with people. So I try to wind them up so I can get them to, do things for us.
Yeah. I've seen you winding them up. It's quite funny, to be fair. Oh, dear.
It does get result.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I've seen that happen. Now, do you know what, actually, I would speak to you about this as well. I've actually got somebody who's got going to be building on a place, I'm not going to say too much, but building on a place down south. And they've already been and had a look round, and this place has never been, had a psychic in as such, do you know what I mean, to actually do a proper ghost hunt and everything. I'm actually considering trying to get a few of us in. So if we do, Patrick, I'll give you a ring, and maybe, because we're going to see if we can get some cameras in there to do a proper hunt.
Yeah, you let me know, sweetie. Obviously, you have to give me a fair bit in advance, because obviously you know what I'm like, how busy I am.
Exactly. So we'll get some camera crews in, but I've already said I'll be the one that, like another person we know, literally I'll be the one that's screaming in the back and holding your hand because I'm frightened to death out of it.
She never stops screaming, does she, Hawk? I know what you mean. She gets on my nerves, I'm sorry. I like her husband. I like him because I met him a few times. I met her a few times, but no, I'm not keen on them.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? We actually had Derek on the show, and it's funny because I actually interviewed Gwen as well. And everybody's going, why would you interview Gwen for? And I was like, because it's good to see the other side, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Your wife, Bernice, she's beautiful. She's so amazing. And I've got to give her a big shout out because she is your backbone, to be fair, isn't she? She does help me so much.
She does everything for me, darling. She does everything for me. She does all my business parts for me. I don't know how she puts up with me, I'll be honest with you.
I don't either. I mean, I don't believe that for a minute, Patrick. But to be fair, and just for the record as well, I've got to say to everybody that goes to your events, you even get Bernice, don't you, to do a percentage of how much of stuff that you've actually got right.
Everything is written down every night, what we do. I aim to hit between 80 to 96% each night. That's what I aim to hit. On average, I hit about 85 to 87% nearly every night. Yeah.
And let's face it, that small percentage that you're off, half the time is because we can't remember, even me, we can't remember all of our relatives, or we didn't meet them, or whatever it may be.
One of the other problems is, because the way what I am and how much I find, people would rather not know that people know, and they come up to me afterwards and said, well, you're actually right about that, but I didn't want to say anything to anyone. And like I said, well, you'd have to say to me, so I understand, I would have stepped away from her. Because that's the rule with the spirit world and me. Say, I understand, and then I move on to another thing with the same person. But with me, if they tell me something more than 2 times, constantly, I know they're right. And people will say, oh, you know where you get these people where they'll say, oh, yeah, prove it then. Well, you start proving it like that, they don't like it.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, well, you shouldn't say that. Well, if you're going to shock someone, you're going to tell someone Uncle Sid had an affair with Auntie Rose. Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody else knew that except for, obviously, Grandma Jill. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You all know, well, you can't say that. Well, did she? Yeah. Well, it's true. Yeah. Well, doesn't that prove that someone's telling me? Because I don't know you, do I? No. Well, yeah.
Exactly. I will say, actually, just very quickly, because we're going to go to phone lines in a minute, but I've got to say something, Patrick. Last time when we were at Stoke, I came up to you afterwards with Kim, and it felt to me like my brother was almost blocking you. Now, anybody that knows my brother